Hi there, this is Ranjit, and in this video, we'll be doing the review for this Samsung Galaxy Note 5. And you might be thinking, why am I posting this review this late? I actually decided to do a long-term review with this Note 5. Generally with Samsung devices, the problem is that when we have the phone, it's new, it runs very well. But after a couple of months, we start to notice some lagginess and stuff like that. And I got this Note 5 in late August. So it'll be approximately about 4 months since I've been using this phone. I didn't use it as my primary phone for all the 4 months, but I used it as my primary phone for the first 2 months. And for the last 2 months, I have been using it on and off. So I have a very good idea about it. And also, I'll also talk about how the phone has changed when I got it and now, because we have got a lot of OTA updates on this Note 5, and I've made a lot of notes also, so I'll also be going over the pros and cons, a huge list actually. So again, stay tuned. I'll talk about the pros and cons at the end of this video. And before we continue, let me quickly give you a configuration overview. I'll also state the specs on the side so that you can have a look. This Note 5 has the Samsung's own Exynos processor, that is the 7420, and it's an octa-core processor, and it's a good thing because this processor is really fast and does not exhibit any heating. Also, it has actually 4 gigabytes of RAM, that is DDR4. It also has a 16 megapixel rear facing camera with optical image stabilization. And now if you notice, the body is very different. It's actually made up of metal and glass. Also, the battery is now sealed. That's a 3000 milliamp hour battery, but we do get wireless charging. So as you can see from the specs point of view, the specs actually look very good. But again, there are some disappointments if you are coming from a Note 4 because we don't have any micro SD card slot or even IR blaster. So those things are missing. And also the battery is not user replaceable. So you have to be aware of that. I'll talk about the battery life later on. And the first thing that I've noticed is that the in-hand feel of this now Note 5 is very different from earlier Note devices. Actually, I would say you'll simply hate it or you'll simply love it. It feels much more solid because of that metallic structure and the glass back. But the con is that it is now a very slippery phone. One of the most slippery phones that I have used. And in fact, now have to use a case with this phone. I'm a person who simply does not like cases. But I'm using this vegan case whenever I go out because I almost accidentally dropped this phone twice. So it is a very slippery phone thanks to this glass back now. So you have to be a little bit careful with this device. Now moving to the cellular call quality, again as expected, we have no issues regarding the cellular call quality. The cellular call quality is very good, crystal clear. And though it just has a single speaker here at the bottom, the speaker is loud. Even when I was using this phone with the speaker phone, it was loud and clear. And the other parties never complained me about cellular call quality. Again, the biggest difference with this Note series is that compared to other smartphones is the S Pen. And I have to say the S Pen works very well. And also we have this new memo. You just take out the S Pen and you can just start writing notes. So this is actually really helpful. And I found this helpful while just jotting down some ideas and stuff randomly. I just take it out, just do it and put it back, and it actually saves the note. Also, I really like the fact that the S Pen can be used to actually directly sign PDF documents, and that has saved me a lot of time. I won't go more in depth regarding the S Pen features because I have already posted a dedicated video regarding that, so you should check that out for more info. In fact, I have made over half a dozen videos on the Note 5. I'll have the link for the playlist in the show notes, so I won't be going in depth about each topic. So if you are interested in those things, you can check out the playlist. So overall, the S Pen is still there, and that is one thing that really differentiates the Note lineup with other Android smartphones. And I would say this S Pen might not be useful for every user, but if you're a sort of a business user and a busy professional, I feel the S Pen can help you at times. And as I mentioned, actually 3 times when I was traveling, I had to sign some documents, and I could just take out the S Pen and sign on the PDF document. So that works very well. So still, it's a very practical phone, I would say. And but again, I don't like the glass back. Again, as I told you, it's a love or a hate relationship. But it's sort of a fingerprint magnet, and you have to constantly clean up the phone again and again. Samsung also talks a lot about the camera. Yes, the camera is certainly an improvement over the Note 4's camera. The optical image stabilization is much better, and particularly in video department, it does very good. And I would say certainly the camera is one of the best cameras that we have seen. But again, it's not the best in all situations. In most lighting situations where we have ample of lighting, I would say it takes very good shots. But when the lighting goes low and in some artificial lighting conditions, I have to say the camera performance is not that stellar. In fact, I have also been using the iPhone 6s and the Nexus 6P, and even I use the LG G4, and I would say in artificial lighting and low lighting, the LG G4, the Nexus 6P, and even the iPhone 6s at times does better compared to the Note 5, even though it has that optical image stabilization. But in many of the shots indoor, I noticed that the pictures come out to be a little bit shaky. So the camera is good, but again, as Samsung is touting and some other reviewers are touting, this is the best smartphone camera, I don't agree with that. Yes, it's a very good camera, but in artificial lighting and in low lighting, there are other smartphones that do a better job. Now, if we move to the battery life. When I got this Note 5 in early August, the battery life was not that stellar. And in fact, I also posted a dedicated video how to improve the battery life on the Note 5. Then I was getting approximately about 3 hours 45 minutes of screen on time. But Samsung has been really aggressive and have been pushing a lot of OTA updates. Almost every month we get an OTA update now on this Note 5. And now, actually, with the last update that I got last month, the battery life has improved tremendously. And now I can get a screen on time of around close to about 4.5 hours of screen on time with my full days of usage. So that is a good battery life. And if we compare it with the Note 4, I also had the Note 4. Now the battery life is certainly better compared to the Note 4. And yes, it does support wireless charging, but the wireless charging is not as fast as the regular charging. With the supplied charger, it supports fast charging, so it charges very quickly. I would say from 5% to 100%, it could charge in just about 90 minutes. So it is very quick in charging. And also, let's say if it's just at 20% and if you plug it in for about 15 minutes, it charges very quickly. It charges almost 25%. So that way the charging is really quick on the Note 5. But again, it does not have a replaceable battery that we had on the Note 4. Also, in terms of user interface, as now it's been almost close to 4 months, I have to say it has aged very well, and still I do not notice any UI lags and stuff. It's still as good as when I got it on the first day. So that is a good thing that Samsung is it's not slowing down, and the Exynos 7420 is handling it very well. And I also feel that the new TouchWiz is a lot less bloaty, and hence I haven't noticed actually the slowing down that we generally see on other Samsung devices. So it has actually aged pretty well in my opinion. Now let me actually break down this device between the pros and cons so that you get a better idea. And let's actually first start with the cons. The first thing that I really hate about this Note 5 is that it has 4 gigabytes of RAM. But still, I would say the memory management is very poor. I would say 95% of the users will not notice that. But if you are sort of a power user, and I actually generally use a lot of high-end phones, so I immediately started noticing that. I actually like to multitask a lot, and I frequently open a lot of apps. For example, I use the Chrome browser, I switch to Twitter, I switch to another app, and I keep jumping between them. What happens with the Note 5 is that after 4 or 5 apps, it actually boots out the apps very quickly. So when I come back to Chrome, it actually reloads. This happens a lot, and this is not the case with many of the other Android phones. In fact, I have also posted another video where I compared this Note 5's memory management with the OnePlus One that has just 3 gigabytes of RAM, and that was doing a far better job. And that is the experience with that. For example, even the Nexus 6P that has just 3 gigabytes of RAM does a lot better in RAM management. So if you jump a lot between the apps, again, as I mentioned, 95% of the audience will not notice this, but the RAM management is not that great on the Note 5 for a device having 4 gigabytes of RAM. I seriously expected it to perform a lot better. Next is, as I've already mentioned, the camera, though in good lighting and in most lighting situation it does good, but in artificial lighting and low lighting conditions, the camera is not the best that I have noticed. Also, I hate the fact that now we don't have the IR blaster. There is simply no IR blaster, and for that fact, we don't have a micro SD card slot also. And regarding storage also, as the storage is internal, we only have two models, that is 32 or 64 gigabytes. We don't have a 128 gigabyte model that is being sold any longer. So if you are a sort of a power user who requires a lot of storage, then you are out of luck, because the maximum storage that you can get is just 64 gigabytes. Also, as I've already mentioned, it's a very slippery phone, so you have to be extra careful, and I would suggest that going for a case with this one. Also, as I told you, the glass is, again, its back is glass, and it's sort of a fingerprint magnet, so you have to constantly keep on cleaning this device. Also, when it comes to fingerprint scanner, don't get me wrong, the fingerprint scanner is actually very good, and actually a lot improved compared to the Note 4. If you just tap in, it unlocks. But now we have other phones also. For example, I've used the iPhone 6s and even the Nexus 6P. And I have to say the fingerprint scanner on these devices is actually faster compared to the Note 5. Also, in terms of accuracy, I would say the other devices are as good as 98% accuracy, but the accuracy is sort of about 85%. Sometimes it gives me a vibrations one, that means it's not detected, then it detects. So the fingerprint scanner is good, but it's not as fast as some of the other flagships. Also, as one thing that I found very peculiar is that the camera is, though as I mentioned, is good, but the flash on this is a single tone flash. It's not a dual tone flash. So whenever you use a flash, the pictures don't come out to be natural. I don't get it why the Samsung didn't include a dual tone flash. So these were some of the cons of this Note 5. But now let's move to some of the things that I really like on the Note 5. The first thing is it's still fast and fluid. Even after this 4 months of usage, I do not notice any lagginess or stutteriness on this Note 5. So it has aged well, and this TouchWiz is not that bloaty compared to earlier versions of the Note. Also, as I've mentioned, the S Pen is the thing that makes the Note line very special. And still, if you think you use the S Pen, there is no other device like the Note 5. It can be really helpful for actually professionals, in my opinion. Also, again, as it's a Note device, it still has that multi-window options. And again, Samsung still offers a lot of multi-window options on the Note 5. So if you do multitasking and stuff, then you'll really appreciate those features. Also, when we move to the front-facing camera, the front-facing camera is one of the best that I've seen on smartphones. In fact, in terms of video, it can record video up to 2K. And in fact, if you are a person who is into selfies and who takes a lot of selfie kind of videos, then this is the phone that you should look at. The videos also that come out from the front-facing camera are amazing. Also, it does support fast charging and wireless charging, so that's a good thing in my opinion. When we move to the fingerprint scanner, as I told you, it's decent, actually much more improved compared to the Note 4. And when we talk about the screen quality, it sports that 5.7-inch Quad HD AMOLED screen, and I have to say the screen quality on the Note 5 is the best among all the smartphones that I've seen. Simply, it's the best screen that you can get. Also, in terms of day-to-day usage, I would say it does not exhibit any overheating issues, so you don't have to be worried about that. Also, I listen to a lot of music with the headphone jack, and I have to say the audio quality via the headphone jack was very good. And also the music player does have a lot of options where you can tweak the audio settings. Also, in terms of video recording, the video recording that I got with this Note 5 was excellent. Even when we move around, the video comes out to be very stable. They have this VDIS feature on the Note 5. So these were some of the pros and cons of the Note 5. And certainly I have to say Note 5 is one of the best, smartphone made by Samsung. And overall, I would say it's a very decent handset. And particularly if you like the S Pen, I would say there is no other phone like the Note 5. And overall, it's a very good phone, I would say. But again, I would have loved to see micro SD card slot, and also I would have loved to see improved camera in low lighting situation. But certainly, if we weigh down the pros and cons, I would say this Note 5 is certainly a very good Android smartphone, and certainly among the best smartphones of 2015. Again, as I've mentioned, I've already posted about 7 or 8 other videos on the Note 5 covering its various other aspects. So make sure sure you check them out. And if you found this video review helpful, I'll appreciate if you can click the like button. And if you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching. This is Ranjit, and I hope to see you in my next video.